The truth finally comes out. Nenah drops a bombshell in court. Willow breaks down. The courtroom in Port Charles was silent in a way that felt unnatural. Every seat was filled, yet no one dared to move. Even the air seemed heavy, as if it knew something life-changing was about to happen. Willow sat at the witness table, her hands clenched tightly together, her eyes fixed forward. She had prepared herself for difficult moments, but nothing could have prepared her for what was coming. Across the room, Nenah stood slowly. No one expected her to speak again. Her earlier testimony had already shaken the room, but the look on her face now told a different story. This wasn't anger, this wasn't defense, this was something deeper, something final. The judge nodded for her to continue. Nenah took a breath that seemed to come from the deepest part of her soul. Her voice trembled at first, but then it steadied, as though she had made peace with whatever consequences awaited her. She said there was something she had never told anyone, not the court, not Willow, not even herself until now. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Willow turned her head slowly, confusion written across her face. She had already endured weeks of emotional strain, hearing secrets, half-truths, and painful accusations, but this felt different. This felt personal. Nenah looked directly at Willow, her eyes filling with tears. She admitted that everything Willow thought she knew about her past was incomplete, that key choices had been hidden, not out of cruelty, Nenah said, but out of fear. Fear of losing the little connection she still had left. The words hit Willow like a wave. Her breath caught as Nenah continued, explaining that she had interfered in moments that shaped Willow's life, not to hurt her, but to protect herself from unbearable guilt. Gasps echoed around the room. Michael leaned forward, his expression darkening as realization began to settle in. Drew exchanged a look with the attorney, while Carly stiffened, her jaw tightening as she processed every word. Nenah confessed that she had allowed misunderstandings to grow instead of stopping them. She had watched from a distance while Willow struggled, telling herself it was better not to reopen old wounds. But those wounds never healed. They only festered. As Nenah spoke, her composure cracked. Tears streamed down her face as she admitted that her silence had cost Willow years of pain, confusion, and heartbreak. Willow's hands began to shake. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. The judge allowed Nenah to continue, sensing the importance of the moment. Nenah said she could no longer live with the lie, that every night she replayed the moments she could have told the truth, but chose not to. She admitted that fear had guided her actions more than love ever did. That was when Willow finally stood up. Her chair scraped loudly against the floor, startling everyone. Her face was pale, her eyes glassy. She asked one question, quiet, almost fragile, asking Nenah if any of it was real, if there had ever been a moment when Nenah had chosen Willow over herself. The courtroom held its breath. Nenah nodded. She said yes, more than once, but each time she failed. That answer broke something inside Willow. Tears poured freely as she struggled to remain standing. Michael rushed to her side, placing a steadying hand on her arm, but Willow gently pulled away. This was something she needed to face alone. She spoke about the years she spent searching for clarity, about the confusion that shaped her identity, about trusting people who never fully trusted her with the truth. Her voice cracked as she said the hardest part wasn't the secret itself, it was knowing that the truth could have saved her so much pain. Carly shook her head slowly, emotion flashing across her face. Even she hadn't expected this level of honesty. The judge called for order as emotions ran high, but no one could ignore the shift that had taken place.
This wasn't just a legal battle anymore, it was a reckoning. Nenah apologized, not the kind meant to soften consequences, but the kind that comes when there's nothing left to lose. She said she understood if Willow never forgave her. She said she wasn't asking for mercy, only acknowledging the damage she caused. Willow wiped her tears and looked at Nenah one last time. Her expression wasn't anger, it wasn't hatred, it was grief. She said forgiveness wasn't something she could give in that moment, that healing couldn't be forced, but she also said something unexpected, that the truth, even now, mattered. Those words stunned Nenah. For the first time, there was a flicker of hope in her eyes. Not hope for reconciliation, but hope that honesty might finally bring peace. The judge adjourned the session early, recognizing that no verdict could compete with what had just unfolded. People slowly filed out of the courtroom, whispering about what they had witnessed. Outside, the sky was overcast, matching the mood of everyone involved. Willow stepped into the hallway, taking a deep breath as if breathing for the first time in hours. Michael followed quietly, offering support without pressure. Behind them, Nenah lingered alone. She watched Willow walk away, knowing that telling the truth didn't guarantee redemption. But for the first time in years, she wasn't carrying the lie anymore. And that changed everything. In Port Charles, secrets have a way of resurfacing when least expected. But this revelation didn't just alter the outcome of a case. It reshaped relationships, challenged loyalties, and forced every person involved to confront who they really were. The truth had finally come out, and nothing would ever be the same again.